Good day, our dear listeners, and welcome to another exciting episode of Sphere Rocket Podcast Network, where we bring you insightful conversations with the brightest minds in business. I am your host, Sweet, and today we have a very special guest with us. She holds a master's in executive leadership in Liberty University and has more than 15 years of experience in brand and marketing strategy. As the Chief of Operations at Virtual Vision Computing, she partners with home service companies across the country through strategic marketing efforts. She also hosts a regular show or a podcast called the Branding and Building Podcast, formerly known as Digital Dialogues, where she interviews industry's experts about the story and how they built their business to last. Please welcome to the show, Amanda Stichter. Hey,
Wonderful. Thank you
Amanda.
so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you here as well in the podcast. So glad to have you here now. It's a pleasure, actually.
Thank you.
Gorgeous. Yeah. So, yeah, Amanda, before we get started to, talking about your success stories and all of those things, I usually start my interviews with asking my guests, like, what is your favorite go-to meal or comfort food after a long, long day of work?
Oh, man. Well, that's a harder question than it should be because it depends on the season for me. I'm like, well, if it's cold, I might want like some good soup or mac and cheese. But if it's hot out, I have a actually, when I was in college, my roommates teased me all the time about it, but I have a weird love of hot dogs. I know they're so unhealthy for you, but sometimes I just like get a craving and I'm like, I need a good hot dog. So, other than that, my like go-to snack that I'm kind of obsessed with is Oreos. I love Oreos so much. So,
Oh, I love Oreos too.
so there's
I
that for you.
Yeah, that made me crave for Oreos and also mac and cheese. And who doesn't love hot dogs?
I mean, there are some people who really do not like them, and if when I say like, "Ooh, I could use a good hot dog," they're like, I don't think so," but I like
Yeah.
them. So
Yeah, we love those foods. And yeah, thank you so much for that, Amanda. So now let's get started with your success stories. And before with that, so can you tell us a little bit about your background story on how you started in the business in this business of branding and marketing? Like what
mhm.
sparked interest in you to just go ahead and pursue this career?
Yeah. You know, I would say it was a little bit of an accidental discovery. When I was in college, I knew I wanted to do something where I got to be involved in people's lives in a much more personal way. I had a few jobs shortly after I got my degree that were just very, nothing bad with them, but just very like monotonous. And I had a hard time finding a purpose in. So I wanted something that day in and day out, I could come in and feel that oomph of like, I have a passion that is sparked behind this. So started, gosh, in 2010, 2011, kind of got thrown into a marketing role doing some public relations for a small private school in our hometown that we lived in at the time. And this something just ignited in me where I was like, I love every aspect of being in brand and recognizing it's so important even in something as small as a font that you choose on something. It represents your business, and whether or not a consumer realizes that a font is affecting the way that they look at you, it 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 does. It makes an impression. So after that, I was in that job for just a couple of years and ended up that my husband and I were moving to a different state at the time. So we moved, and kind of accidentally in that process, about a year prior to our move, I had started doing some graphic design and marketing work just on the side. Like it was my passion project. I did it for fun because it gave me life. Like I loved every minute that I got to spend doing that. And when we ended up moving, I thought, well, I'm just going to give this a go and try it as like my full-time job and my career. And it took off. And so for about 8 years, I ran my own marketing company where my goal was really to step alongside of entrepreneurs who had this like big dream, this big vision in front of them that they knew they wanted to do, but didn't know how to bring it to life in a visual aspect and then how to market it to people. So I would come alongside of them and build the brand, build the logo, build the foundations alongside them, and then help bring it to life and get it out to people. So, and then I've been here at Virtual Vision. I ended up closing that business in 2020. Just decided that it was a lot to run a business. At that time, I had a very small child, so I wanted to be mom when I was done working rather than thinking about, my job.
Yeah.
So I came to Virtual Vision in 2020 and did not intend to be where I am today with it. I started as just a website developer and designer. And I shouldn't say just as, because we could not function without the skills of those
Mhm.
people.
Yeah.
But then today I'm the chief of operations and assisting in kind of the overall vision and day-to-day running of our entire company. And I love it. I love it. I love my job. I love getting to work with so many different clients and continuing in a different industry now, but bringing to life these businesses to the people they're
Yeah.
trying to market to. That was probably longer
Love
than you
that.
wanted, but
Love that. Yeah, it's actually great. I love listening to your story. And it sounds really fulfilling. And I feel like you're really enjoying your job as the chief of operations in Virtual Vision.
I
So,
do.
what do you think is your most, I know you have mentioned some of it with your story a while ago, but I'm just curious with what is like the most fulfilling thing about being, helping people, building their brand, and building not just a brand, but a strong brand,
Mhm.
in the market. So, what's like the most fulfilling thing about that?
There is a moment in a journey with a client of building their brand that like keeps me going personally. So that's the moment I'll share with you. For everyone on our team, obviously, that's going to look a little bit different. For my web developers, it might be seeing that moment when the client sees their website for the first time and they're like, oh my word, I had no idea it could pull together like this. For me, and it goes back to kind of the business that I ran before coming here, when I got to step alongside of these business owners, there was some point in their story of getting to being a business owner where they had that like light bulb moment idea and that passion like started in them. The problem is when you get so far removed from that, at some point you sort of forget what it felt like to be excited at the start of your business, because then you start to like your passion becomes your career and what you're doing on a day to day. And every entrepreneur or business owner hits that point where you're like, why am I doing this? Because it's just become monotonous. It's just become what you do now and you forget. But my moment that I love is when you can just start asking questions of those owners when I'm just starting to work with them to help them feel that spark again. And it takes a little bit. Like you ask enough questions and they'll start to tell you like the history of their business and how they got into it. But it's where they start to go, actually, there was this little rabbit trail in that story that I start to share with you. And their mind starts going and they're remembering. And then at some point, this little spark comes back in their eye and they get a smile. And it's like, that's it. That's that's what I want you to feel and dive into, because that's the power that got you now where you are today. And that's what we need to help your customers see and understand in what you're doing. So that is the moment for me that it's the
Yeah.
best. I can't
Mhm.
even explain it until you've watched it happen. I just I love it. I love it.
Love that. Love that. Yeah, I can really like the energy just really transcends as well here. We're just doing this virtually. Like, like when they spark. Yeah, I can totally relate that in a little bit as well when you were like here in podcast hosting, like when a guest also just started sharing, and you can see, lights up their faces, lights up their mood, and that is
Yeah.
such a great and amazing time as well. And I think it also comes with having the that feeling of, and also confidence that someone is helping them, and that's
Mhm.
you, when you're asking them questions, that it just free up their, some stress in them and the loads that they're thinking. And
Yeah.
there's that confidence that someone's helping me, so I can just throw some ideas out there, and then free
Yes.
up those spaces for creativity. So yeah, and also you mentioned as well a while ago that you're, of course, you're a CEO, and you are, just wanting to be a mom after work and all of those things. And of course, you can't do that without, a team and the help of
Mhm.
people. And also, since you're a very valuable client, Sphere Rocket. Hello? Wait, I think is it
I
my
can hear
internet?
you, but I can't see you anymore. There you are.
Okay,
Now you're
you're
back.
back. Sorry. I think it's
You're
my
good.
internet connection. Yeah. So, yeah, so going back with, of course, having help with virtual assistants, since you're a very valuable client of Sphere Rocket. So, may you share to us a little bit of like also a history on how you found out about having a virtual assistant, and what's
Yeah.
the specific problem that you were having at that time that made you decide to get a virtual assistant?
Yeah, absolutely. So, our company has changed a lot over the last 4 years since I've been here. And obviously, my role has, as I've shared, I started as a website developer, then I became our project manager, then I oversaw our marketing and design department. And then, sort of just through some natural shifts, I moved into the role of the chief of operations of the company. And in that, I was taking on a lot of different things, right? So there are always things, and I know this about me, like I'm horrible at responding to the right things in the right time because it gets like my inbox, for example, gets way too busy too fast because I get a lot of emails in a day. So I miss emails. It's hard for me to sort through, but it feels like a waste of my time to go through and like clear all the junk mail or categorize, so it just grows out of control. And it was probably in about April that I started to feel I was focusing very heavily on the day-to-day aspect of our company, as well as running sales and leading our sales team, and was just feeling this weight of like I can't keep up with my emails, I can't keep up with responding to people. And I happened, I don't even know how I found it. I found a webinar of Moose with Sphere Rocket presenting just, and I can't remember what it was called, but it was basically like the last assistant you'll ever need or something like that. And I was so intrigued. So, but I guess I thought maybe our company would just be hesitant. There is like a control factor of realistically like bringing someone in from overseas. And I don't, not that like it doesn't bother me, but I think some people just have a really
Mhm.
sad perception of that, right? And so I brought it to our management team and I said, "Hey, I found this. Can I explore this? Like, I would like an assistant for myself. Let's test this out because I need help and I can function better if I have this help in this aspect." And they said, "Okay, well, let's give it a try. We'll just start with getting you an assistant." So we started with that through Sphere Rocket. And I'll tell you, my assistant, she's amazing. Amazing. I do not know. I mean, it's what been 5 months now. I do not know what I would do without her. And it took 3 days because I will say the rest of the
Mhm.
management team was hesitant, but like, let's try it. Let's see how this works.
Yeah.
I said, I will be our guinea pig. It took 3 days for each of them to message me separately, not having talked to each other, saying, "It's been 3 days. Is how has she stepped in and is doing all of this already?" Because it was that efficient that quickly. And that
Wow.
was such a true testament, yes, right, to the needs of first of all, like immediately I felt such a huge weight off my shoulders. My husband noticed, like, hey, you seem way less stressed and you're not working in the evenings anymore. What is going on? And so from there, we recognized lots of other areas in our company that we needed additional support, but maybe didn't justify needing a full time US employee. But instead, like, could we justify bringing in VAs from with Sphere to help our team and support them in other areas? To date, I want to say we have now 6 VAs in our company, 6 or 7 through Sphere Rocket that are helping us in so many different capacities. Our customers have been impressed by how quickly they're getting responses. Our team feels like they can function better because they have this support. It has been the most incredible experience that I would never have anticipated we'd be here. And it's moved our company so far forward. And they are fantastic. The VAs are fantastic. They're hardworking, they're dedicated, they're easy to communicate with, and they just have jumped in and adapted what we needed them to do and are proactive in it. I can't say enough good things.
Love that. Yeah, it's so great to hear how, how much weight on your shoulders that was lifted because you had really great support from your
Mhm.
VAs. And what's the particular or specific positions that you have right now? Like you started with
Yeah.
you, right? And then now you
Yep.
have six.
So
So what are their positions?
yeah. So the first one, as I mentioned, was my executive assistant. And so I tell my team, like, Hazel manages my life. Like, if you want time on my calendar, you have to go through her. If you need an email, talk to Hazel. Like, she'll do it. She organizes me so I can serve people better. Then we have an assistant for our marketing team. So she's basically like an executive assistant to reach out to our clients and helping with the management of some of their accounts on the back end. I have to think through all of them. We recently brought on a content writer. We have a web developer. We have 2 communications teams members that help us verify the leads that are coming through for our clients and disputing those. We have a social media manager and graphic
Mm.
designer. I'm sure I'm missing some, but that's probably a good start.
Yeah, yeah,
And we have
that's
plans to add
great. Yeah.
more in the coming months of as our company continues to grow. Areas that, the first place I'm going to look for support for our team is through Sphere Rocket.
Love that. Thank you so much. I love hearing that. And yeah, I think that's so great that you also explored in, different areas, not just having virtual executive assistant, I mean.
Mhm.
So you also explored in other aspects like social media manager, content writing. And yeah, that is so great to hear. So yeah, now Amanda, if our audience wants to reach out to you for help with their branding and marketing, what's the best way that they can contact you?
Absolutely. So our website is virtualvision.com. The easiest way to get a hold of me is via email, amanda@virtualvision.net. And you can obviously call us or just reach out. Obviously, you can find us on any streaming platforms with my podcast, the Building and Branding podcast, Facebook, social networks, anything along those lines. You reach out, we'll get the message and make sure we can help. And I always tell people, like, there's no commitment when you talked with us. Like, if we can't help you, I'll tell you that. If we're not a good fit, I'll tell you that. So, yeah, I'd love to talk
Love
to
that.
anyone.
Love that. Thank you so much, Amanda. But stay there because after this quick commercial, we'll be having our next segment.
Sounds good.
Overwhelmed with work? Well, meet your new partner from Sphere Rocket VA. In just a click, get matched with a virtual assistant who handles all the tedious tasks. No in-person hiring, no extra office gear, just easy online help from our recruitment team. It's like having an extra pair of hands minus the hassle. So ready to relax and see your work done just like magic? Choose Sphere Rocket VA and visit us at www.sphererocketva.com.
Okay, and we're back still here with Amanda, and it's time for our lightning round. So, Amanda, lightning round are just quick and fun questions. So, you ready?
Okay, I love it.
All right. So, first is what is your favorite business book?
No, there are too many. The most transformative one that I think relates to this podcast the best is Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. I think it's a fantastic book. I bought myself a copy. In fact, when I hired my executive assistant, I bought her a copy and said, let's read this together because I think this will help us implement and work best together. So, related to this podcast, that one's probably been the most transformative this year.
That is so great. And next, who is your favorite influencer or coach?
Influencer or coach? So we work in the restoration and home services industry quite a bit. And so there's lots of coaches and consultants in that industry. And to be honest, I can't say that I would choose like one or the other because they're all so knowledgeable in very different aspects of what they do. So I am not the type of person that likes to identify one influencer or one coach and go forward with it. What I would say is the key in that, like my advice in a coach or an influencer, is just find someone that you can be honest with, no matter, especially in my role as COO, there are stressors and weight of tasks in the company on my shoulders that probably not always appropriate for me to show that to everyone on my team, just because my stress like doesn't need to overwhelm them for high level things that I'm thinking about. So currently I have a great friend that who actually is a consultant that I vent to, I talk to, I cry to and say, "Hey, can you help me think through these things and give me an outside perspective?" His name is Chris, and Chris has been transformative. He's not really like an influencer. I don't think he's on social media, but he would probably be who I'd follow because he's who I talk to the most about those things.
Love that. And next one is favorite lead generation method.
Okay, well, when it comes to marketing, if I had to choose a favorite, it would be the pay per lead model. A lot of people for paid lead generation tend to look at like pay per click, but pay per lead is my favorite personally because you have a lot more
Mhm.
control over what happens with that lead. The cost of a lead tends to be a bit more expensive, but if it's not accurate, you can dispute it and get your money credited back. So that's always my go to. It's quick wins for people if you got to get some short-term gains in the door.
Love that. And what is your best or favorite Amazon purchase?
Well, I just love Amazon too much as it is. Gosh, that's a great question. I anything. I don't it depends on what I need in the moment. Do I need a new planner? Okay, got it. Do I need some cute pens? Got that. Do I need a new book? Got that. Like personal or anything like that. I don't know. It just depends on what I'm feeling at the moment. The things I probably order the most are books that are business related just to help in my personal and professional development. And then I have a 10-year-old daughter and getting your nails done is expensive. But we both like having our nails done. You can't tell cuz I don't have anything on them right now, but I feel like this year I've ordered a lot of nail accessories on Amazon so that I can do my 10-year-old's nails without paying a
So
ton of money to
cute.
take her to a salon.
That is so cute. And yeah, last one word to describe Sphere Rocket.
Exceptional.
Love that. Thank you so much, Amanda, for joining us today. And it's been a pleasure knowing you and hearing your success stories and love the energy, by the way.
Thank you.
And yeah, I wish you continued success in your real estate endeavors. Do you want to promote anything before we end the podcast?
I'll just reiterate again, if you are scared of the concept of bringing in a VA, it's life-changing. The Sphere Rocket team, there's really no way to lose with what they offer because they have your back. If you need to, if it doesn't work out and you need to find someone else, they're there. If you've got questions and you need coaching, they're there. Like you really can't lose. So I would 100% promote that.
Thank you so much, Amanda. You're so sweet. And yeah, there you have it, friends. I hope you learned from this episode as much as I do. And yeah, and as always, if you have suggestions for future guests, just drop us a message. And again, my name is Sweet, and until next time, stay inspired and keep building those spheres of success.
Feeling overwhelmed by your business tasks? Well, it's time to step up your game. Visit www.sphererocketva.com and get a virtual assistant from us at Sphere Rocket VA. Streamline your business operations and focus on what really matters.